Thousands of angry Pakistanis have taken to the streets, but this time the anger is not directed at their own government, but at America's.
A fierce diplomatic battle is developing between the two allies over the plight of an American who was arrested for the suspected murder of two Pakistanis in Lahore.
Barack Obama has already publicly demanded the return of US diplomat Raymond Davis, reminding Pakistan of its duty as a signatory to the Vienna Conventions. Let's welcome someone who knows all about the US regard for international law. Welcome, Moazzam Begg.
Thank you.
What's your take on this development?
It's a bizarre paradox, isn't it? The United States is talking about the Vienna Convention, but it has never applied it to any of the people that were detained extrajudicially in Pakistan, myself included, more particularly the case of Afia Siddiqui. No consular access was given to any of those people who were held in that scenario at the time at the behest of the United States government. So for them to say now at this point, because it's an American, therefore a double standard must apply and everybody must follow as a result is sheer hypocrisy.
And of course Guantanamo is still open, and presumably all the remaining people in Guantanamo are there against international law.
Well, clearly, one of the countries that was cited as the major culprit of handing people over extrajudicially to the United States of America, of course, was Pakistan. Most people who are in Guantanamo had to go through Pakistan and either be rendered there or physically being tortured there or both, and then made their way to Guantanamo. The law simply didn't apply, and I remember just recently discussing with one of the former prisoners when he was at his Combatant Status Review Tribunal, which was a secret court in Guantanamo that determined whether you're an enemy combatant or not, that a US judge would say that you can talk about international law, but it doesn't apply here. And so when we're talking about basic concepts that the United States has a signatory to, it just does away with them when it comes to its own interests, very clearly.
You were tortured by the United States, but you're also a close observer of Washington-Islamabad relations. Do you think they're on a knife edge now and the people of Pakistan are going to copy Tunisia and Egypt?
Well, I think, it's rife. It's certainly rife. The situation in Pakistan is always on a knife edge for one reason or another. The relations with America and between America and Pakistan, I think, will continue to sour when they have complete and utter disregard. And this is what it comes down to, whether it's the drone attacks, whether it's people who have been kidnapped and tortured, or whether it's people who are shot in the streets by Americans. They have an utter disregard for Pakistani life and in essence, think it's cheap. And therefore, an American diplomat can shoot people and think that he has diplomatic immunity and get away with it. And this is what has had such a dramatic effect on the people of Pakistan. But I'm assuming that let's take a look at what's happening in Waziristan. Hundreds of people have been killed, in fact thousands. That hasn't caused a revolution in Pakistan yet. So although this may be rife, I think it's probably not going to happen yet.
You mentioned that Davis, I know that the Americans say that Davis should have diplomatic immunity, but you had a private dinner recently with somebody who should also have had diplomatic immunity, and yet he ended up in Guantanamo.
I had the good fortune of meeting the former Taliban ambassador to Pakistan here, Mullah Abdul Salam Zaif. And of course, if anybody reads his book, My Life with the Taliban, which has been recently published here in the UK, he talks about how, as a diplomat, as an ambassador, with all the diplomatic rights that are supposed to be afforded to him, he was simply handed over extrajudicially, and then ended up in Kandahar, where I first saw him physically, and then later in Guantanamo. He wasn't treated as a foreign diplomat. He wasn't given any immunity. The Geneva Conventions or the Vienna Conventions or any other conventions did not apply to him.
But doesn't the United States say 9/11 trumped all that?
Well, it does. But then if it trumped all that, then that means Mr. Raymond Davis is also going to be a recipient of that trumping. It's a double standard, clearly.
Of course, some people say there is a very easy, dignified exit for America in all of this, and that is just by having a prisoner swap, returning Dr. Afia Siddiqui, who is serving 86 years in an American prison for attempting to shoot at American soldiers, and swap her with Davis, who appears to have killed two Pakistani people.
Well, yeah, I think that's one avenue that could be explored. You rightly say that Afia Siddiqui didn't kill anybody, but Raymond Davis evidently has killed 2 people. Would they do a prisoner swap? It's pretty unlikely, because I think the Americans are going to maintain that their legal system is the best in the world, and if somebody's been prosecuted through it, then that prosecution must be very safe. But as for Pakistan, which has a third world nation, which is our little whipping boy in South Asia, they simply don't have a
Well, a telling tale about the Obama administration and justice. Thank you very much, Moazzam.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you.